Yo, what is up, boys and girls of the Mirko? Welcome to the official episode for the roster review that I promised last week, but again, some of the teams didn't actually reveal the roster up until today. So here it is, finally, the roster review for every single one of these teams in MPL ID and MPL Philippines. So without further ado, let's get started. First, we're going to be starting with MPL ID, all right? This one was the last roster to be revealed. NAVI, they took their time to reveal the roster, and this is it. Very underwhelming. Yeah. We were thinking Endoryu Ukir. That's what I was thinking. That's what most rumors say. Now, this could be a situation where they just haven't gotten their work visas yet. And I really think it is the case because there's no way they would stick to this lineup from, the result that they had last season. But they have Afro, Cars, Paul, X-Magic, Shive, and they still have Coach Do and Kazaman now. So, yeah, I think this roster is a solid no playoff roster right here. They're going to get maybe 1-2 wins max. They might actually rival their previous year and go 0-16 again. But from my sources, this should be Endoryu and Ukir as the mid and jungle. Okay, so if it is true and Dorian Ukir actually comes through, I think they actually have a pretty good roster to make it to playoffs. If this is a rumor and it ends up being false, I think we're putting Navi all the way down as they were last season. So yeah, fucking weird, super freaking weird. Next up, we got Bigatron Alpha, or Bigatron Esports now, no longer Alpha. Again, always with an amazing lineup, but they just don't have that clutch factor. I don't know. Whenever we can come to playoffs, the playoffs performance is always kind of mid. Regular season, they're always amazing. The rosters have always been amazing for this team, and it's very amazing this season too. Moreno is still here with Finn and Eman, but then they've changed everyone else. They've added Niall, replaced Annabelle. They've added Shogun, replaced Luke. Luke is now a streamer, in case you guys are wondering. And they have a jungler, Ron, as just a substitute. So 6-man lineup. I like it when teams don't have that many players in the team, because then you can really see them trust the process. They can't really change too many things. And again, I'll have to say, in terms of just lineup quality, this team is up there. This team is top 3 in terms of lineup quality. But they've always kind of been top 3 roster-wise, lineup-wise, on paper for the longest time. Bigatron are a team that are always good on paper. But I guess they can't read, because it doesn't matter how good they are on paper. They never seem to, really click and do too well. They max have gone to grand finals of MPL. That was season 7. Yeah. After that, the best finish was season 14, 3rd place, season 12, 3rd place. Everything else has been fucking first round exits, stuff like that. They have made it to every single playoffs though. And again, when it comes to this lineup, I like the fact that they have Moreno and Eman. They've kept them, and they've stuck with Finn, because I think these 3 were really, really good from last year. Luke was very shaky when he was good. He carried the team. When he was meh, he went 0-7 or 0-8 with Lucas and Hilda. Shogun, big question mark for me. How is he going to perform? Niall, even though he's new in the team, and obviously there should be questions raised about how good his chemistry is going to be with the rest of the team, I think he's already really, really good. I mean, for me, there's no reason to doubt him. The 2 times that we've seen him play in MPL ID, at least when he had the full, when he had to play full seasons, he did amazing. He qualified for M5. He then carried Alter Ego to a playoff spot. So yeah, I'm not going to question Niall. Big question mark is on Shogun. How is he going to perform in his first season in MPL? Is mental going to be an issue here? Because if not, then I think this team is really, really good. Now, the second doubt that I have for this team would be the coaching staff. Bam and Airpong. Let me try to find Bam and Airpong, their post here. Where's Bam and Airpong? It should be up here. So, yeah, okay. I can't find it. But yeah, their coaching staff is Bam and Airpong. Those are the 2 new coaches who will be coaching Bigatron Esports. Now, what do we know about him? Not much. All right, here it is. I'm sorry, I was blind. What do we know about him? Not much. For Bam, he was the ex-coach of Aero. So Aero did make it to playoffs, did have like a couple of really good games against SRG2. So I'm really interested to see how Bam can do with this team now that it's I would say a better team than the team that he was coaching for before. Erpang, he's proven, all right? M5 with GEEK Fam, top 2 with Homeboys last season, and now he's in BTR. Hey, this is a dream come true for me. Really rate Erpang all the way from the GEEK Fam days. So the fact that he's now BTR, he's my GOAT now, is great. So yeah, big question mark is how these two will work together. Obviously with their analyst, Barbosa. Barbosa is still in the lineup, I believe. I don't know why he's not in the post, but yeah, I guess because it's a welcome post. So that's the coaching staff. Big question mark for them because last season we did have a big question mark for the coaching staff too. When E2 Mac came in, Tazzy had to come in, Theo Nile had to come in. They had to just shuffle the roster of coaching staff everywhere and it became a mess. So yeah, right now, if I'm being honest with you, I'm going to rate this roster at like I would put like B or A, just because they haven't performed the previous seasons with a good lineup. But again, if we're just looking at it on paper, I think this is probably the second S tier team that we have, with another team that you guys probably know are already kind of locked in an S tier. Let's move on to that team, which is ONIC. Now, without saying anything, just from you seeing Skylar here, this is an S tier team. They are S tier. They are #1 favorites. There's no other team that has a lineup as star-studded, as scary, as threatening as ONIC. It really seems like we're going back to season 11, season 12, where we're just competing for second place. Because what is this lineup? Like, honestly, they have the best players in almost every single role. And even when, you know, some of the players aren't the best in their role, they're like the second best. They're top 2. Sans, definitely #1 mid laner in Indo. Kyrie, #1 jungler in Indo. Keyboy, #2, I would say, right? Edok and him, there should be arguments there. Skylar, top 2. Previously, when he was playing, he did better than them on. But because he was inactive last season, I will put him at #2 for now. He still has the potential to, again, be better than them on, obviously, with a couple more active seasons, or, you know, just being active throughout the season here, plus playing with this team. Now, the big question mark, and also Lutpi was top 2 last season with Dyren, right? So the big question mark for ONIC that I think every single Sonic fan has too is the fact that Yeb is no longer coaching this team. So can Adi, CW, and Coach Paddington, oh, this is Coach Paddington right here, do or fill in the hole that is left with Yeb's departure from the team again? That really is the only thing that I think will be stopping the team. Other than the fact that, again, it's an all-star lineup and egos could crash and they could all just, you know, it could be an all-star lineup that just burns down to the ground like we've seen in the past. But I think they're experienced enough. I think the players have all kind of like, they know each other very, very well. Skylar's not a new guy on the block. He knows them. They know him. They're kind of close already. So I don't really think that'll be an issue. That's me assuming. The thing that I have an issue with, that are concerned about, is the fact that, you know, Adi, CW, and Paddington are now coaching. So, yeah, that's the only thing I can see stopping this ONIC roster from being the great that is Prime ONIC again. We might actually see a better version than Prime ONIC with this lineup, because always, back in the day, even though CW was amazing, don't get me wrong here, CW was always amazing. He was always that, like, a amazing gold laner for the team, because he just fills in the role of whatever the team needs. Skylar's got that dog in him. I've said this a billion times from season 9 all the way to season 14 when Skylar, you know, was active. He is my favorite gold laner, Indonesian gold laner. He's been since season 9, or actually he's been since season 8. And I think it's time for him to finally show what he's got internationally. Because really, if you're ONIC, I don't think you're going to be looking at regular season. I don't think you're going to be looking at MPL ID. This is kind of like an SRG situation where they know what this lineup is capable of, and it really comes down to how they perform internationally later. Let's move on to the next lineup, which is DEWA United, and we are going to be seeing kind of like the same-ish lineup. They are trusting the process, which I like, especially when it comes down to trusting process on maybe. Now, Itoshi Kesu and Spencer were the 2 players that they added into the lineup last season towards the end of the season. They've decided to leave Itoshi Kesu and Spencer to still focus on Mueza and Octa. Octa, I would say, is very, very questionable. Aside from a few good performances on Lunox, he's been very average. Vans still being in the lineup is weird because Ray is just so much better. They do have a few reinforcements. So they have Mark in the XP lane. I believe I'm circling Mark here. They have Coach Wright and Acheng as the analyst. So Coach Wright and Acheng. And they apparently also have Chin. Kin is a really good XP lane from the matches I've casted for him in like some of the collegiate leagues or the study leagues. He's really, really good. He always caught my eye. So again, I think Kin's work visa hasn't been accepted yet. That's why he's not in the lineup, but he will be in the lineup, I believe. So yeah, we'll see how he does. We'll see what he can do. This lineup looks like a solid like mid-table team right now, but obviously maybe is the guy that I'm going to be looking at for the most part in the season. He had an amazing debut in the season 15 regular season, and I think he's one of the players who can actually, jump up to superstardom just because he's good. He's really, really good. I rate maybe a lot. I think he's a good gold laner. Let's see how he has progressed, how much he has improved, and how much the rest of the team has improved. Because again, question mark about Octa for me. Mueza, solid, but also very inconsistent. I would put them mid-table, B tier, probably somewhere in B tier. GEEK Fam. Oof. I think I'm gonna take back what I said about BTR because this is the second place, second S tier team, not BTR, because of the experience and literally they've stuck with the same lineup. The only thing that they changed is no Chadera. They've replaced Chadera with Zeltron. Zeltron is gonna be the substitute gold laner. They always seem to just have a substitute gold laner from the past. It was Marky, Chadera, and now last season it was Kenzie and Chadera. Now it's I think Kenzie as the main man for the team. So yeah, no changes at all. Literally, even the coaching staff, Dora, DSP, and Bluffsy are still in there. There's a title change, but the roster has stayed the same. This team, I called them making the top 3 all the way from the start of the regular season just because I think they have really good components. Makid's an amazing jungler. Maybe, I would actually put him at number 2, right below Kyrie. I think he has the potential to be number 1 this season. So we'll see how that, how it works out. The biggest problem for GEEK Fam last season was just the inexperience of these members. Gobs, Makids, Kenzie were inexperienced. And when they threw the game, when a boy threw the game against RRQ in game number 2, they kind of just lost morale. They lost everything. The composure was out the window. Discipline was out the window. Everything. The mental state was gone. So with that learning curve, the very harsh lesson that they got up against RRQ, this should be a lineup that is now experienced enough to be like, okay, we know how it feels to tilt. We know how it feels to deal with tilt. And yeah, it was one of the rare scenarios where a boy actually fumbled, and he doesn't usually do that. This guy is still a top mid laner. I really trust him. Beloyski, we don't need to talk about him. We know what my thoughts are about Beloyski ever since season 8 when he qualified for M3. So yeah, I think this is number 2 lineup in Indo. And I think unlike the previous seasons, unlike season 10 all the way to season 15, they've always gone through the same arc of doing really shit in the early parts of the regular season and then doing really well in the end, just because they always have different lineups. Season 10, they had a completely different lineup. Beloyski just entered the team, so they needed some time to get going. Season 11, they swapped up the lineup again. Luke's debut came in, right? And again, they had to walk back up very slowly. This is also when a boy came in. Season 12, they had a few changes because Niall came in, and then season 13, they had Ray, and then season 14, they had Vincent, and then season 15, they had May Kids. So they always have changes in their lineup, all right? Even losing Luke, right? Now, same lineup. I don't expect them to do the same in the regular season, at least in the start. I think they're going to go guns blazing and start winning a lot of their matches early. Yeah, so I really rate GEEK Fam. I think they're number 2 team in Indonesia right now. Let's move on to EVOS. Oh my God. This is literally BTR 2.0, dude. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5x BTR players. Yeah, I've spoken about this already, but to just say it again to the people who didn't watch the stream, EVOS are in a weird spot right now where they want to trust the process, it seems, with some of their players, but they also want to play it safe as fuck. And the safety of it is not really safe. Like when you play safe like this, you end up risking more. I'll just be brutally honest with you. I do not rate Roundel. I don't think he's a good mid laner. Swaylo is last season pretty horrible too. So having these 2 mid laners as your only options it could be regarded as safe. You know, they have a layer. So if Suelo doesn't perform, they can always go to Roundel. But it's like swapping an egg for another one. It's not a change. It's not like swapping an egg for an omelet. You know, it's a raw egg with a raw egg. I don't know why I chose an egg to, you know, use as my metaphor here. I was just thinking about eggs, all right? So don't question me. Erlan is, in my opinion, I've been saying this for so long, one of the gold laners in Indo who actually has the potential to be the man. He's got that dog in him. Every time he performs really well. Every time he doesn't, obviously, he's very inconsistent. That's the big problem for Erlan. But EVOS have never given this man a proper chance. EVOS have always taken him out of games. I remember, I forgot what season it was. I think it was season 13. He played one game, and then they lost the game. He had an amazing performance in that game, but the team lost. He got swapped out after one game. Then he proceeded to just play MDL the entire time. EVOS Icon were doing really well with Tsutsujian and Erlan both carrying. He came back to MPL. He only got a few games again. He came back to MPL last season, finally. And by the way, if you guys don't know, Erlan is Doma. This is the guy who we've been talking about for the longest time. So it's the same guy. He just changed his name. Last season, first 2 weeks, amazing performance. Clutched it up against Bigatron, was the main reason they won for stealing that Lord with Key. And then he had one bad performance against RRQ Hoshi. One. Okay? Maybe two. All right, two. One really bad performance against RRQ. One average, below average performance against DEWA, I think it was. And then they decided, you know what? Let's swap him out. Let's get Brands back in, who was at the time retired. The guy was just, you know, taking a rest. And EVOS didn't make it to playoffs. If you're not gonna make it to playoffs, if you don't have a sub that's like just so much better than your gold lane here in Erlan, why don't you trust them? I don't get it. Why does one game against a big team like RRQ, who made it to top 2 back to back, impact the roster that much? Yes, I know the netizens were all hating on Erlan. Everybody was like, oh yeah, Erlan's the reason they lost, blah, blah. Here, EVOS, big message, or just a message to you. Skylar was horrible in Season 7 when he debuted. He was, again, pretty mid, average, below average in Season 8. That's why Zin was playing for RRQ, not Skylar. Season 9 was when he truly performed. You gotta trust these rookies to perform. And if you continue to do this, you're fucking destroying this guy's future, bro. This guy has the potential. Trust me. I've caught like crazy players with my eyes before, and I've always been right usually when it comes to like players having that potential. So please trust me. Trust me on this, okay? This guy is amazing. Please. The rest of the team, though, is very safe, I would say. Albert and Key, veteran, Chorizo as well. It's not a lineup that will bring you like flashy plays all the time, but it's a consistent lineup. It's a solid lineup. Now, for me, the biggest coach, I'm not even going to talk about Bravo and Dojo because I don't know I don't know them enough to really talk about them. Who I do know is Vin. Vin is a great captain. Like when he was a shot caller for RRQ, for BTR, he was really, really good. What's the problem with him? He's very emotional. That could be the downfall of a team. Like for his teams in the past, it was the downfall. I hope he's matured in the time that he's been gone from MPL to now be the coach, head of MLBB. That takes a lot of responsibility. That takes a lot of emotional, EQ. You need to have good EQ to be handling, kids, and especially considering the team isn't really a guaranteed playoff team. There's going to be a lot of struggles here. If Vin can keep a calm head, stay composed, I think he's going to be a good coach. But if not, I think this roster is going to turn sideways very quickly. So let's move on. Oh, wait, let's put him. I'll put him at B to A. They have the potential to be A, but right now I think they are mid-table to no playoffs kind of team. They're right there. RRQ Hoshi on the other side. Oof. I'm a fan of RRQ Hoshi's plan. Aside from the fact that they still haven't changed their jungle, and I really think Hazel should be the main jungle. I don't know why he's out from to Aero again. I actually do know the reason, but I can't tell you guys. Yeah, they still are keeping the main 5 from MSC from last season. It's still going to be Toy, Sutsujin, Dairon, Edog, and Rins. This is probably still the main 5. But they've added Rez and fuck, I forgot his name. Let me just tap. Zunesh, yes, Zunesh. So Zunesh, they've added Zunesh and Rez. What does Rez and Zunesh add to the team? A lot of people on the internet, especially Indonesians and RRQ fans, the kingdom, have been saying like, yo, why the fuck would you add Rez? Like, Dyron is the man. You know, he's the best XP in Indonesia. Why would you put a substitute in for him instead of like Rins, who's been underperforming, you know, a Toy who underperformed in MSC? I understand. Dyron is the main carry for RRQ. I still think he is. I still think he is the main factor with EDOC. These two are the engine of RRQ, the engines of RRQ. But Dyron is so good on playmakers and carries that it just feels like a waste every time you want to play a high-low comp, every time you want to play a composition with Gatot Kacha, every time you want to play a composition with the XP just being an enabler. He isn't really the best choice for that. Rez, on the other hand, is. It's kind of like a Lutpi and Rez situation. Lutpi is great on carries, but Rez is amazing on enablers. If he's there just to set up the team, I would say Rez is the better option. So maybe they're going to try to swap around this playstyle of RRQ. They've seen how, you know, again, they've reached really high heights with Dyron and EDOC, but maybe to truly enable Rins and Toy and Tsutujin, they might need an enabler in the XP, playing safe picks. Kind of like a Kirk and Sanford situation. Where, you know, Kirk is great on enablers, Sanford is amazing on carries. And the fact that they've stuck with this lineup, I think is great, because in the past, again, I need to keep on bringing the history for this. Why? Because in the past, RRQ fans have always complained when they swap out rosters every season. You know, they're looking for instant rewards. Everybody's like, why the fuck would you kick Arcadia? Just trust him for a bit longer. Why the fuck did you kick Irad? Why the fuck you kick Brusco? Trust the process. Now that they're trusting the process, it's just strange to see the fans still hate on them. They're doing what you guys have been wanting this team to do. Trusting the process. And yes, trusting the process can be really stupid when there's no process. When there's no one at the head of the process. But you've got Keskute and NMM, dude. These, right now with Yeb's departure, this is the best coaching staff in Indo, with Yeb being out. Keskute is the best coach in Indo with Yeb being out. Yeb was the only guy who was like there above Keskute, in my opinion. Even in season 14, when RRQ lost to Liquid, I still rate Keskute. I really rate this guy. This guy is really intelligent. He's an amazing coach. He's the guy. Keskute is the key, again, as usual. Now let's see what he's able to do this season, because this should be like, you know, the big season. It's the third season, so he has to perform. He has to maybe win. Second place isn't really the best record, but it's a good record for the fact that you know, they added so many rookies in season 14 when Keskute joined the team, and they went second place instantly. APBREN had to go through so many no playoff teams, so many choke into playoff teams before they got a world championship team. Trust in Keskute. Next team, Team Liquid ID. Very, very disappointing lineup, in my opinion. Why? Because in the ISF lineup, they already kind of revealed what the plan is going forward. Fabian and Aaron weren't in that ISF lineup. Aaron and Fabian have constantly been streaming the last few weeks. You know, if you're an avid watcher of MPL, of, you know, just MLBB, you know that pro players do not stream close to the dates of MPL just because they have to scrim. So many, you know, they have to scrim, they have to practice, they have to do all that. They have been streaming constantly, and they're not even part of the ISF lineup, which leads me to believe they're just here for show. They're just here in the lineup just to be like, okay, in case this lineup doesn't do well, they're still there. Aran, Kabuki, yeah, so everyone except for Aaron and Fabian will be the real lineup here. They're just kind of like the shadow figures, I feel. Kabuki is back, which is very, very weird. He's great. He has the mechanics, but his hero pool last time we saw him was very whack. So he should have improved a lot in the last two seasons where he didn't play, because Kyo did amazing last season in his debut. You know, for the fact that Kabuki is here means that he probably will be the starter. Yeah, I'm personally going to be banking on Kabuki being the starter, at least for the first few games, and then we'll see how he performs on stage before we see Kyo again. I'm not a big fan of this lineup, though. I trust Witty, Yeheski, and Aran, but I don't think they're going to be enough to really just carry the team. Just three of them, you know. Joe is a new jungler from MDL2. They've done really well in the past with MDL junglers, Gogo and Fabian, and now Joe. So I guess we'll trust them in that part. But yeah, this for me looks like a team that might not make it a playoffs, or might just, you know, be mid-table. So let's move on to the final team, which is, by the way, this is the wrong one. The final team, this is the wrong one too. So hard to find, man. And okay, final team. I'm not even going to bother to play the video because they have Oyen here. This is the best player of all time. Oyen, they're all lane guy. Yeah, honestly. So it's the same lineup. Rin, Hijume, and Nino. They've kept them. They've replaced, and Arfi. So they've kept the 4 players from last season. Alec is the new roamer. Dreams is now out. Alec is in. Alec is Owen. You guys probably remember him from season 14. He was very bad in season 14, but then he had time to develop an MDL. They actually won MDL last season. So Alec, who's Owen in the past, now he's Alec. The question mark's on him. Can Alec do well in MPL? Can he perform to the level that he did in MDL in MPL? The other big question mark for this team would be their coaching staff. Zephyr. Can Zephyr be the real head coach this time? The last season, they still had Nafari in, and because they had Nafari in, the reason they had Nafari in was because Zephyr wasn't really too comfortable. He still needed to learn MLBB, he still needed to learn how to draft, etc. So that's why Nafari was in. Now that Nafari is no longer in the lineup, this leads me to believe that Zephyr is comfortable drafting already, fully taking responsibility for everything. So let's see how they do, because this is a lineup that is in some positions capped. I think Hijume and Rin, we've seen the best of him, and Nino, but Arfi and Alec are the 2 players who still have a ton of potential. We've seen the best from Rin, Hijume, and Nino. These 2 players, though, Alec and Arfi, if they do really well, this could be a team that, you know, surprises a lot of people. But for now, I'm going to still put them at probably just a mid-table, So to round it up, I think it's going to be ONIC, GEEK RRQ, and then we'll have BTR somewhere here with... I think BTR the only team here, actually. Then we're going to have like EVOS, Alter Ego, NAVI, maybe, yeah. Who am I missing? What team am I missing here? DEWA, yeah. Probably then we'll have like Alter Ego, EVOS, NAVI, and then DEWA, and then TL. Honestly, I'm so sorry, TL. TL and DEWA can be reversible, by the way. Like, I think TL is... They have witty, they have more experience, but DEWA... I'm a big fan of maybe. I like him, you know. So let's move on to MPL Philippines. First lineup. I did the voiceover for the TLPH reveal, by the way. If you guys noticed, thank you for noticing. Shout outs to you guys. If you didn't, then fun fact. Not much to say, really. This is an auto S tier. What makes him so special is RC's draft. RC is so, like, the way he takes draft, like, it's so literal. The way he drafts in MPL or in MSC. It's like whatever the picks are that are good, we go for it first. When Arla's open, we go for Arla. When Arla's not open, we go for Zusin. When Zusin's not open, we go for Lancelot. It really, dude, RC is just so simple. Like, the route he has as a coach is just not the route. The route he decides to take in every single draft is just so intelligent. It's so clean and very honest. But when you have a lineup this good, why try gimmick picks? Why try, you know, bullshit picks when they can perform on the great picks? Yeah, best XP ever, in my opinion, individually. No other XP has been able to reach the heights of Sanford. I've been saying this since M4. So, yeah, this guy has always been best XP. Oheb, really good addition to the lineup. Consistency and the composure he has is ridiculous. The clutch as well. He really lives in the clutch, dude. That steal against ONIC with Moskov saved the game and got them the win. Don't need to say anything about these guys, right? We know how good they are. JP, so unlike any other XP, very not, it's so fundamental based, not flashy at all, doesn't really look for crazy moments, but ends up being so good for the team. This team just lines up perfectly. Perks, I don't have much to say about you, sir, because I haven't seen much from you in the Liquid roster, so I'm sorry. But yeah, instant S tier. This team, I think, will shock a lot of people this season. Falcons have always kind of been lingering, you know, like in the past, they've been good, they've been bad, they've been good again. They're kind of like in the limbo of 3rd to 4th place, kind of filling in the spot that RSGPH left. Mirko is, all right, now this could be a hot take, okay, guys? As an individual player, individually, I would still put Kelra number 1 after what we've seen from M6 and MSC, but I would say number 2 goal laner in the world. This is going to be, I know a lot of OHEB fans are going to be mad. OHEB, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to say that you're not as good, but I'm going to have to be honest here. I think individually, Super Mirko is the second best goal laner in the world. Individually, right? When you add in the team, I think OHEB actually skyrockets over Kelra because he plays with the team perfectly. He's the guy that you would want as a goal laner in a team that already works, like a team that has multiple carries, like TLPH. But when a team needs a hyper carry, I think this is where Mirko really steps in. This guy is ridiculous. I have rated him high ever since I've seen him, and in M5 especially, called him the best goal laner. He ended up winning the whole tournament. Flap TZ and the carry meta is going to be very scary. Again, carry XP meta. Few is the big question mark for me. Again, this is a hot take. He is an experienced player, veteran player, but in the past, it's been his I don't want to say old mechanics, but you know what I mean, right? Like the rustiness of him in the mid lane has been one of the issues where a lot of the other mid laners, especially the younger ones, are doing better mechanically. So they ended up being the mid lane carries, especially in this patch. So for me, the big question mark is here. Kyle as well, I rate very highly. This guy is an amazing jungler. He's kind of like the closest thing we have to Carl TZ. Utility, jungle, assassin jungle, both amazing. And that will give Falcons a lot of, I think, a big advantage coming into the next season, just because the other junglers that we've seen are kind of like very either assassin-based or very utility-based. Kyle and Carl are the two ones that can actually go util and jungle. Trevor, pretty good. I mean, he's good. Ogwen, good. I mean, a great roamer too. Amazing roamer. So I think this lineup is great. I think this is A to S tier lineup too. I think they have what it takes to really, shock MPL Philippines season 16. So Twisted Minds, they added a few 9 Lives members. They still have MP the King, and Sensui. So they still have and Bonchan. I don't know how to rate this lineup, if I'm being honest with you. I really don't know how to rate this lineup. This is like, for me, just a question mark lineup. They've taken a risk by going for rookie players, 9 Lives, but not going for the full team. Technically, still keeping some of the good parts of the previous lineup. MP is really good. I rate him. He's a great jungler. So let's see how he does with this team. But again, I think it's more of a question mark for me. So I would put this team just to be safe and B. I wouldn't say they're the worst lineup, just like I did last season. I'm sorry, Twisted Minds. Nothing against you. I just gotta rate these teams equally. So yeah. They're a team, I guess. Now, APBREN, because they've had experience from last season and now they've added Aqua and Lord JM, I think this team could actually shock a lot of people this season too. I think they could make it to playoffs. But obviously, they are one of the teams that I think is, especially considering the top 4 is just so stacked, could be just bottom, like maybe knocked out in day 1 or even no playoffs, barely kind of team. They have experience now, so a lot of the members from Lazy Esports who debuted in the last season should be able to perform better now. They've already improved. They now understand how MPL works, Coach Jeff was the ex-coach of Homeboys and Vamos. Just Homeboys. Homeboys back in MSC last year. So M6, it wasn't Coach Jeff for Vamos. It was just the other guy. I forgot his name. But yeah. Honestly, good lineup. I don't have much to say about this lineup just because, yes, James Pongs is really good. Aqua is really good. JM is great. Shizo can be good. He was just inconsistent last season. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Big question mark for the coaching staff now that Coach Jeff is back in MPL PH from MPL MY. Big question mark for the team as a whole, how much they've improved. That's why I'm just going to have to put them in safe B. I don't really have much to say about them. I don't know if you guys have a lot to say about them. Now, oh my god. Yoshi looks like Yaoi, by the way, in this picture. I really rate Haji. Do I have to say this every season? There's always a lineup that like makes me say this is the worst lineup. I think Omega might have like I hope this comes back to bite me because I really don't want to see Haji not make it to playoffs. But I don't really see this lineup as being like a contender. They're probably like maybe they make it to playoffs, But out of the other teams, I think this is the most kind of like meh lineup in my opinion. They're just taking everyone that they've seen in the past, you know, and they're just clumping up all together. I don't know. It looks like a lineup that are made from scraps. So I'm sorry, I'm Omega. Again, no hate against Omega or any of these players. Haji's my boy. I really root for him. So I would love to see this comeback, homecoming back to Omega, like to be him finally doing well again. But yeah, I don't know if you agree with me. This lineup looks like a very, all right, let's just, you know, let's get the lineup together. Let's put this team together and this is what we get. Yeah, kind of eh. TNC Pro Team. Same. Actually, you know what? Oh my lord. Because they have Benny and Zaida, I think these guys are like, I really rate these guys. Benny and Zaida are really good. Chaknu, inactive. I don't know how good he is. I mean, he did play for Omega, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. 3mar, I don't want to be mean. I really don't want to be mean to the players, man. But I don't think this lineup is. I don't think this lineup's good. I really don't. I think TNC might be back to no playoffs. Itomax, my boy, though. He's my goat. He's XBTR, by the way. Good luck, coach. I hope you do well. Benny, Zaida, I hope you do well. I'm a big fan of y'all. But I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I think this and this, like Smart Omega and TNC, might be the two teams that, like, Twisted Minds, they're two. They're like, this is the big question mark. They could be good. They could also just like fall off because so many rookies. Yeah, I think it's between these three to not making the playoffs. APBREN, I have a little bit of trust in them. I don't know why. Hopefully that trust doesn't betray me. Last but not least, ONIC Philippines. Yeah. Keeping the same lineup, adding Ryota into the lineup here. Just like this, the same thing for what we said about Dairen. Kirk is great on enablers. Ryota might be better on carries. So it's that dynamic here for the team. And I like the fact that they didn't change much because in MSC, if I'm being honest with you, I think a lot of the games were lost from the draft. Why Not is amazing, and the team is amazing when they have the meta around them, like in M6. The meta was just perfect for them. Suyo Joy was meta, right? And then King Kong could just take over games every single game. But in MSC, the meta right now we have too, it isn't really all that about the jungle. The jungle is still good whenever you get Lancelot, Yisun Shin. You can really still carry the games like you did. But even then, you get limited just because of the delay of the minion creep spawns in the jungle. And that's why you don't see King Kong's rotation to be as good as it was in M6. In M6, you could always just be like 2 levels ahead, 1 level ahead by Turtle 1. Now, because of the changes of the delay in the jungle creep spawns, it's always kind of equal for the jungle. That's why utility jungle is back. You can always match up, and the mid control is just so much better. All right, let me just explain it slowly. Because of the delay in the jungle, mid lane has now more time to get level 2 before you finish your jungle. And then this basically stops invades from happening, because when your mid lane is already strong enough level 2, you can hold off, and if the enemy team walks into the enemy jungle, it becomes more of 50-50 compared to usually back in the day. If you have a fast clearing jungle plus a stronger mid laner level 1 to 2, you can just go and invade and take everything. That was how ONIC Philippines, you know, took control of almost every single game. That's no longer the case, and that's also why Brusco really liked Khalid back in the day. It was literally just Khalid Cho, right? Why? Because they would honestly just go for mid prio. They would very brutally honestly go for mid prio. They would be like, all right, we clear level 1 super fast so that King Kong can have a fast pace jungle clear into the enemy jungle, invading and getting the advantage. So that doesn't work anymore. They're going to have to find different ways. Maybe play for Kelra and Prince more now that they're really good. King Kong needs to adapt to utility jungle. I think the team as a whole just needs to adapt to utility jungle. Like Kirk needs to adapt to carry picks. King Kong needs to adapt to utility jungle. Kelra and Prince can stay the same. Brusco needs to tone it down on aggression because, again, it's utility jungle. So it's not as crazy as it was before. The follow-up from the assassin won't be as fast. But I hope they keep the same style when they get lands, when they get Yisun Shin, when they get these carries, because it's still the same. Yeah. Where would I put them? I think I would also put them in S to A. So here, just to round up, I think right now, obviously TLPH, they're on their own level, but I think Falcons comes pretty close to them. Oh wait, we forgot about one team. Aurora Gaming. All right. Really good lineup, if I'm being honest. Really good lineup. In the past, I did say their weak link was Renegade. No disrespect to Renegade. Again, I don't hate these players. I'm cool with them. It's just, I'm giving my analysis. Light didn't perform last season. but I still trust him, and he's still my boy. He's my GOAT because he's XBTR, by the way. I honestly think Light will fit in this team really well. This could be like the missing, oh wow, the missing light for the Northern Lights to perform. They need light. That's wordplay. Yeah. Edward is very, very solid as usual. He's good on both. He's kind of like the Carl Teasy of XP, where he's good on both enablers and carries. I still rate Sanford over him, by the way, but this guy is so balanced, dude. Like, he's so good at just everything. You know, Sanford is better than him on carry picks, but when you put Edward on like enablers, he does well. When you put him on carries, he does well. The team usually falls off last seasons and the previous seasons when he doesn't do well. So just goes to show how important of a role he has. Yue is a solid mid laner. Domeng, for all the memes, is still really good. I don't know why you guys hate him so much. Domeng is good. I still think he's good. This season he should be even better. Demon Kite has always been solid. Light and Demon Kite connection from MSC 2022 are back. So yeah, I think they're up there. So right now, I think S tier, we have TLPH, FALCONS, Aurora. I'm sorry, ONIC PH, but because of their performance in MSC, I'm going to put them in A tier, not S tier. These teams are all really good for utility and assassins. Okay? That's why I think it's great. Then we have B tier. Why? Because I think the top 4 in MPL PH is like pretty far from the rest of the teams. B tier, I would put APBREN first, then maybe TNC, and then Twisted Omega right here. Twisted Omega, TNC are the teams that I think are not going to make the playoffs. APBREN might shock us by maybe beating some of the top teams. There's obviously going to be room for upsets to happen, again, with these bottom teams, my opinion, bottom teams. But yeah, I think the top 4 are just too strong. So that's my review on every single roster for MPL PH and MPL ID. If you guys agree, let me know in the comment section. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section. Tell me which part you disagree with, whether you think I'm an Aurora hater or whatever the fucking narrative is at the moment. Let me know, because again, I'm very excited for MPL Philippines and ID. I'll be keeping a very close eye on both MPL ID and MPL Philippines. And yeah, Aurora. They have my GOAT in Light, so I might be an Aurora fan very soon. But TLPH number 1, in my opinion, let's go. So yeah, let me know in the comment section.